Hi guys, welcome back to Two Moms in a Pod. I'm Ari.
And I'm Kim.
So we're gonna continue on with our last episode. We're gonna talk about things we wished or talked more about. Today we're gonna continue talking about sex.
Oh, doing the nasty.
Well, not about too much details, but
I think just like the things surrounding sex and like how it's also looked at as like such a hush thing.
Yeah.
Or like don't talk about it.
Yeah.
You can't talk about it.
But yeah, like, do you think it was such a taboo subject in your household?
Yeah, like it was just never talked about. Like my mom thought I was a virgin up until before I told her I was pregnant.
She's like, oh, my sweet girl.
I never felt, I think because she made it seem like this, like, I don't know, it was just made to seem like it was this like huge thing, and like I was like, come on, like I've been living here for like how long, and you really think I'm not doing anything? And yeah, I remember like she would ask me and I'd say no, because I also didn't feel
comfortable
or safe enough to tell her like, yeah, like I'm not a virgin. I like lost my virginity in high school. Like I didn't have that I guess like safety or like open communication with my mom to tell her like, yeah.
That's funny. No, yeah, same at my household. It was never talked about. I think my mom had made a comment once about it when I was little, and I had told her I'm never gonna have sex. It's so disgusting, because she was trying to explain to me that when a man and a woman love each other, they do things, but she wasn't like specific. And I was like, ew, that's disgusting. I'm never gonna do that. But it was never more than that.
Yeah.
Like she never talked to me more about that.
So like going into like, I would assume like high school and stuff, she was never like, hey.
No.
No?
No. No, only I think when I was in quote unquote serious relationship in senior year, it was only serious because he asked my parents for permission.
Oh.
Like he went up to my dad and asked him personally, like, hey, is it okay if I date your daughter? I think that's why I was so in love with this guy. Because I was like, oh my god, this guy is so he respects them, and he's so mature, and like he's showing an interest, like a genuine interest. But yeah, that's when my mom was like, you better not get pregnant. But that's it.
Do you wish she would have talked to you about it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I think it would have prepared me to like know if it was the right time to do it, and who was the right person to do it with. And yeah, I think I would have been prepared for like all the stuff that come after it.
Yeah.
Like getting your cherry popped, or like experiencing pain the first time you do it, and just all these things that come along with it.
Yeah, like I think like as a mom now, I can see like the hesitation to like
start that conversation.
To start the conversation, because I feel like a lot of parents are like, oh, if I talk to my kid about this, it's gonna
encourage
seem
them.
like I'm giving them permission to go out and do that. So I can see that side of it, but at the same time, like you said, I wish like my mom would have talked to me about it, because it's like, yeah, you would like to be more prepared, I guess, or more like, especially like it, I don't know, like to have, I think, a better experience. And then like it's also made to seem like this really big thing, so it's like you want to have that open communication with like your parent, to like trust them enough to be like, this really big thing happened to me, and like this is how I feel about it. Or like you're able to be like, I don't know, just talk about like the safety behind it, or like the cleanliness, like the, you know, how you should pee after you have sex, like the care that comes after it, like wear protection, or like, you know, just like there's certain things that you shouldn't do, or like make sure you're 100% comfortable with this person, or like if there's any hesitation, like don't do it, you know. So it's like, but when you're that young, maybe you take your hesitation as like, oh my god, my parents are gonna be mad, as opposed to like, maybe this isn't the right choice, you know. Because I feel like when you're young and your parents make it seem like this really bad thing, like parents make sex seem like a really bad thing,
which
and I feel
really
like
isn't.
It's
just
it's
being safe and educated about it, you know.
And it's like, like as a mom, obviously there's like a hesitation, but also like I want to have open communication, and I want my kids to be able to like come to me for any questions or advice, or like, is this normal, is this
but then
not
again
normal?
It's thinking like, oh, my baby is no longer a baby, she's asking me like all these grown-up questions. It's kind of, I see why they wouldn't want to talk about it, because, you know,
you do think of your kid as like, you want to think of them as like your baby, and as like quote unquote innocent for as long as you can. Which is why I get it. But like, I don't know, I feel like for me, I have, and maybe it'll change like, or get more difficult as she gets older, because obviously right now she's a baby and like nothing can happen to her. But like, I have this like mentality of like, that's just life, you know, like she's not meant to, she's gonna grow up, like she's not, and also like the whole like, she's not meant to be mine forever. She's mine until a certain extent, and then she's her own person, you know. And that's I know that's such a scary thing to think about, but like, I just have that mentality of like, she's mine for so long, and then she's her own person, and then she's gonna find people, and she's gonna build a life, and like, that's just the cycle. That's what has to happen. You know,
the circle of life.
It's the circle of life. And like, as like heartbreaking and like scary as that is, like, that's just. And then did I tell you about the TikTok that I saw? Where it was this like guy, and he's like pouring coffee, and he's kind of standing there zoning out, and then it's kind of like I think he plays like in the background kind of like his daughter growing up, and then he's just standing there, and it's like when you realize that you're preparing your kids to need you less. And then it's the kid growing up and like being able to do things on their own. And that's such a heartbreaking thing to realize. But that's what we do as parents. We're like preparing our kids to need us less. You know? And sure, she's gonna get to a point where she needs me less when it comes to things like that, when it comes to doing things on her own. But I would hope to build a relationship with her to where she would not need me but want to come to me for things and help, you know?
I get you.
So like, there's that part of it. Like, I want to be open and accepting of everything with her enough to where she will come to me for things, you know?
I get you.
But that TikTok like made me realize like, I'm preparing my daughter to need me less.
That's so sad to think about. Especially when they're your first.
Oh my god. So then so because it wasn't something that was talked about for you in your household, do you think it's going to be something you tread on in your household when it comes to like your kids in the future, if then?
No, I think I do want to talk to them about it. But I think I'm going to wait until they're a certain age, you know, until it's appropriate for them to know about sex. Maybe, I know kids talk about it in junior high, so probably I'll talk to her about it in junior high. middle school, but
and then that too, like, I don't, because I know, like, I don't want her to get information from her friends.
Yes, because like, it could be so misleading.
Yeah.
And it could be just false information.
Yeah. And then I want her to mature, I guess, on her own time. And, like, in high school, people, it's crazy. Some kids are over here having fucking sex like rabbits, and some kids are like, what is that? You know? Or, like, they're more just not, I don't know. So I feel like I don't want her to get advice or like information from like her friends who know nothing, you know, or to like would encourage her to, or would like I would guess encourage her not to, that'd be fine. But like, you know, like I don't want her to get information from kids her own age,
that basically have no experience, or know nothing.
But it is such a fine line, because it's like, how much do you talk to them about it to where it is like, I guess, age appropriate, and then like, but informative. You know,
I don't know, that's tough, because I know kids, I mean, we went to the same middle school. We knew people were already having sex.
Oh my god.
And even like freshman year of high school. So obviously we have to have that conversation with them at that age, because then that's when they start getting curious, and they might want to try, or you know, they'll hear stories from their friends and what they experienced, but what they experienced might be different for our daughters. So that's why I think it's important that we have that conversation with them before that happens. And they do it on their own with the information that they were given from their friends.
Oh my god. The thought of her getting any information from anybody else scares me.
Right? But I mean, it has to be done, because, you know, we went through it, you know, like, we didn't have that information, and we had to learn on our own. And, you know, I think it was a good thing for us that we waited so long, because by then we were kind of like, we got so much information from multiple friends throughout the years. And I'm sorry I have to say this, but it might be different for our daughters. You know, they might not wait as long as we did, and they might do it early on. So I think we have to have that conversation.
And like, I mean, I also, like, obviously, ideally, I would want her to wait until after high school. But I also, I don't know, like, I don't want her to think of sex as like a bad thing, because I feel like parents make it seem like it's such a bad thing, and like, it's not. It's
really not. It's just being educated,
being careful.
Being careful and choosing the right person for you at that time. You know, you might not be with them forever, but you know, being with that person feels right at that time, then you know, go for it. But
so it's so tough, because I get it from like a mom perspective. Like, I don't want her, I want it to happen as late as it can. But then I was a teenager, so I get the pressures. I get
the pressure comes with it.
I get the, like, your friends are doing it, or like maybe your friends are just saying they're doing it, or like, I don't know, just also even just like the way the internet is nowadays, and social media, and how like how kids just seem to be growing up so fast, and with that comes like the over sexualization of them, and like, so it's hard to like have to navigate that, and like know how much to say, when to say it, you know. But
because with the whole social media thing is, we didn't have it when we were that young. It wasn't a thing. Like, Instagram was barely even being created when we were in senior year.
I think
our thing was Facebook, barely. And still MySpace. So, you know, now with advanced social media, everyone can post everything and anything.
Yeah.
So they could get the wrong information from anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's scary to think about. I don't know. I just don't know how I'm going to start that conversation with her and how to move forward with it.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure she might have seen it already on social media.
Yeah. I think that's the thing too, is like, and then also like social media and like the internet is just the most like unrealistic in everything, you know? Like it's like, I don't know, I feel like it's like that's not real.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, like that's not real. That's not how like a normal first time experience is like, or like,
oh, like when they watch porn for the first
things
time.
like that. Like that's not realistic. That's not real life. That's not how
acting.
It is.
It's all acting. It's not
like,
real.
I don't know. Like
I know some people will argue, it's like, oh well, they watch it because it's educational. You get to learn how to do it and all this other stuff, but no, it's all fake. It's all acting.
It's literally
that's not
acting.
How it happens.
Yeah. And it's like that's just not how it's really a normal day-to-day, or like a normal just like people doing things. It's just, that's not how it works. Yeah, so I feel like it's such an unrealistic way of like quote unquote explaining things. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. That's hard. But I do wish I would have gotten at least some type of explanation, because I got nothing. I got nothing. I got no warning, no like, you know, when you should or shouldn't do it, like nothing. It was just not talked about. And then like as I got older, it was just like, you haven't done it right, you know. So it was always avoided or looked at as like a bad thing, you know. So like I do wish it would have been talked about more, because it's not talked about enough, you know, in your normal day-to-day life with like the people you're supposed to trust the most, you know.
Yeah, I get you. For me, it was just like the scare of getting pregnant and disappointing my parents. I think that's why I waited so long.
Yeah.
Because I was scared to get pregnant. And you know, we would see friends get pregnant at an early age.
Yeah.
And just seeing that happen made me more scared to become pregnant.
Yeah.
So I think that's the reason why I waited so long.
And then again, it's like, if you avoid the conversation, then like I would much rather her come to me and tell me, hey, like I'm thinking about this, and then be like, okay, let's get you on birth control. Because it's like, you can't always trust the guy in that. Like, I need her to take initiative and get herself covered, you know. Like, I'm not saying like that's gonna be an enjoyable experience and I'm not gonna probably cry afterwards knowing, but like I'd rather like, or I don't know, like have a conversation and just be like, let's start you on this as a precaution, I guess, you know. But then I don't want that to encourage her to be like, well, now you're protected, like, you know. So it's such a hard thing.
Have that conversation with her, like, if there's no condom, then there's no sex.
Yeah, even if you're on birth control or you're using protection, that does not protect you from
becoming
STDs.
Pregnant. Oh, and STDs as well.
Yeah, like you cannot trust it 100%. You can't trust any birth control, any form of birth control 100%. You know, so it's like letting them know, like, one, you can't trust it 100%. Two, you have to be the one to take initiative. And if you're not both wearing protection, like, STDs are a thing. Yeah. You know? So it's like that too. Like, I was never warned about STDs. Like, thank God I've never gotten any, because I've only ever been with one person in my life. But, like, that's a thing. Like, people are not, like...
They're not protecting themselves.
Yeah.
And if they know they have it, sometimes they don't even let you know or even wear protection, because apparently it feels better without protection.
Apparently. It is. I get that it's a tough topic, but it's also a topic that needs to be had. A conversation that needs to be had.
Just for their safety, as STDs and, becoming pregnant if you have a daughter.
Yeah.
Or even for a guy to, be so active so young and get someone else pregnant, you know? And letting them know, if you get this girl pregnant, now you have this responsibility of taking care of that child. And letting them know, you can't just bail out.
Yeah.
Because that's your kid.
Yeah.
And
then how, convenient is it for, it's so much easier for a guy to bail out.
Yes.
Because, they're not experiencing pregnancy. They're not experiencing birth. So it's
or all the symptoms.
Or anything that comes with it. So it's so much easier for a guy to bail out if they don't want it. But, for a girl, now, say it were to happen in high school, now that girl's going to have a reputation and she's going to be looked at, in a bad light because she got pregnant in high school. What were you doing having sex in high school? Things like that. It's looked at so negatively.
Yeah.
And then with that, it's the ruining of her reputation. It's also kind of the ruining of her life, because now if she decides to carry on with it, that's for life. That's forever, So it's now she has, they drop out of high school, or it's harder for them to pass high school, So there's so
even
much
harder for them to continue their education and have a life
outside of that. Yeah. And then, I feel if you get pregnant in high school, or you get pregnant young and you don't stay with the person or whatever, I don't see how many guys are willing to get into a relationship with somebody who has a kid from a previous thing.
Yeah.
I just don't, that doesn't seem, unfortunately, most guys are mature enough to be I'll take, and then that's also hard to do, to take on the responsibility of someone else's kid. Yeah. So it's such a longer lasting effect, I feel on girls.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's I'm gonna scare Leah to not have sex. Just kidding.
And then even if they weren't to keep the baby, if they were to give it up for adoption, that's so hard too. I can't imagine going
carrying
through pregnancy and everything, and then giving up the baby, and then kind of just always having to live with that. Sure, of course, a lot of the time, they end up having, if they're adopted, from infancy, they end up having better lives, maybe a life that you couldn't give them. But I feel as a parent, you still have that in the back of your head, I had this kid and now somebody else is raising them. I wonder how they're doing. And then the effect of the kid realizing, or being told, if they're told that they were adopted, what do they think about the parent that gave them up,
Yeah.
So it's so complicated.
Yeah.
It's so scary.
It is.
That whole thing,
as long as she's happy.
Yeah, the whole thing of you have to be married in order to have sex, or whatever. I get the sentiment. Sure, it'd be a nice thing to be I have only, well, I guess in my case, I have only ever been with the person I'm making my life with, but that's not realistic.
No.
That's not for a big portion of the people. That's not how it is.
No.
And then yeah, I don't know, that whole you have to be married in order to have sex. No, that's that's BS. I don't know.
I mean, some people do wait.
Yeah.
But other people, they just don't care and they just go for it.
Yeah, and again, preference, beliefs, all of that comes into play. Yeah. And I get that, but I never tell her oh, if you have sex before you're married, you're basically ruined. No, that's so dumb.
That's so scary to tell a kid.
Yeah, that's traumatizing.
Yeah.
And it's also so unrealistic, I feel
It is.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, I just wish in a Mexican household, it would be talked more about to prepare me for like everything that comes with it and after. And, you know, just to be educated that there's, you know, risk as to like getting an STD or even getting pregnant. I mean, my parents, well, my mom, she would always tell me like, don't have sex because you're gonna get pregnant. That's the only thing she'll tell me, but she wouldn't tell me about STDs or other things that come with it. But yeah, I think she only told me about that because, you know, being a teenager is when you're more likely to get pregnant as to getting an STD. Because, you know, we're just kids. We're not like being super sexually active and for us to be able to get an STD.
Yeah.
And I don't think she was educated about it either for her to educate me about it.
Yeah.
So I think that's the reason why she only brought up pregnancy.
And I feel like if like it's not talked about, I feel like you're more likely to get pregnant because then you're just going based off of like information that like you get from your friends or like you're getting information from like the guy. Yeah. And it's like, I don't like, if both of you are not educated, how many times has a guy been like, oh, I'll just pull out? Yeah. Hello, pre-ejaculation is a thing. Yeah. You know, or like, oh, if we do it on these days, you're less likely to get pregnant. Or, oh, if you're whatever, you're like,
if you're doing it in this position.
Yeah, or like yeah, or like if you're on your period, like, you know, like you can get pregnant while on your period.
Oh yes.
You know, so it's like, that's the thing, is like, if it's not talked about, you're getting information from like the least educated the least educated sources, and then they're telling you different things, and then you're not prepared, you're not being cautious, you're not, you know, kind of really understanding the consequences. So then I feel like you're more likely to get pregnant. Yeah, so it's like, I don't know, have a conversation.
Start now. Oh, did you ever see that TikTok where this guy said that his mom prepared him to be a husband, but before that she would give them like lesson plans on how to be safe with sex and how porn is so, I guess, fake from like real life. But he would say that she had like full-on lesson plans with them and would teach them and would even get like quizzed and everything on everything that she would teach them, so they could be educated when it came to like to sex, protection, and like how to be a better husband, how to be a good husband to their future wives. I was like, that's kind of cool because you know, she's preparing them for adulthood. Yeah. But then it's like, they're so little.
Yeah. I would get that like maybe once they're like a little bit older teenagers. But like before that seems like,
I don't think he said what age they started, but I know he said that the mom was giving them like lessons on how to be a good husband.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like everybody should do that.
Yeah.
Lessons on how to be a good spouse, for sure. Because, yeah, nobody ever tells you, like, I feel that too, like, there's a lot of things also as far as, like, marriage and, like, partnerships and, like, kind of expectations that come with that, like, you're not prepared for. Nobody prepares you for things like that either, I feel like. No. You know? Or like how much things change when you move in with your partner or spouse or whatever, you know?
Yeah. I think that's something for another episode that we want to talk about.
Oh yeah, you're right. I don't know, maybe because I don't have a boy, but I feel like with moms and their boys, there's a weird like thing that I'll never understand.
What do you mean?
Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like that's cool for the parents, the mom, to teach her kids, like, about it and, like, prepare them to be a husband. Because I feel like for a lot, and maybe it's mostly in the, like, Hispanic household, that, like, the mom tries to hold on to their son for dear life, you know?
Oh, okay.
And it's just, like, if, like, the whole, like, jealousy thing between a mom and, like, their girlfriend. Son's girlfriend is the fucking weirdest thing I've ever heard about in my life. Like, it's not a competition, no. Right? Like, that's so weird to me. And it's like, like I've said, like, your kids are not meant for you. Your son is not meant to, he's meant to get married. He's meant to find a wife or a husband or whatever preference. They're meant to find a partner for themselves. They're not meant to grow up, be with you for the rest of their life. Yeah. You know? So I don't know. That's just we were talking about it at, like, work last time, and, like, both my coworkers were like, oh, just wait. I was just like, I'm a mom. Like, I get it. But I'm, like, I don't know if it's because, and I was telling them how, like, I don't get that. I don't get the jealousy. And they were both like, oh, just wait until you have a boy, or just wait until, like, your kids get older. And I'm just like, I'm a mom now. I get the bond. I get the, like, I get the bond. I get the sadness that does come with, like, letting your kids be their own person. Like, I get that. But I don't get the, like, I don't know, like, I don't get the jealousy. I don't get the, like, you know, nobody's ever going to be good enough for my kid. No, like, I obviously my standards are going to be extremely high for whoever my daughter or future kids' partners are. Like, my expectations are going to be high. But I still do expect them to end up with people who are good enough for them, you know? So this whole, like, notion of, like, oh, and again, I don't have a boy, so maybe it's different when you have a son, but I'm like, I'm obviously gonna love my daughter as much as I would if I were to have a boy. Yeah. You know? So, like, I don't know. Am I weird? I don't get that. I don't get the whole, like, no one's ever gonna be good enough for my kid, and, like, the jealousy or, like, the possessiveness that, like, comes with that, and them finding partners. Yeah. You know? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think you're being weird about it. I think you're being, like, rational about it. Because, yeah, they're gonna grow old, and, you know, they have to find their own happiness. But, like, to be jealous about the person that they're with is just ridiculous. Yeah. Like, why be jealous about it? Yeah. Like, you have to understand that, you know, they're becoming their own person. They're getting older, and they have to live their life.
Yeah. And then it's also, like, at a certain point, I don't expect to be my kid's first priority. Yes. Because they're going to start their lives. So they're going to build their own family, and their own family is going to be their priority. And, like, you know, I don't know, like, I've heard the whole, like, you know, I'm their mom and I'm still their first priority, but it's like, no, that's not how this works. At a certain point, just stop. Like you left your parents and you started your family and you had us, is how now, like, my parents stopped being my first priority. My kid and my partner are my first priority. Yeah. And at some point, I'm not gonna be Ollie's first priority. Her future whatever is gonna be her first priority. Yeah. And that's just the way of life. Yeah. You know? I just, some people, I don't know, the possessiveness that they have over their kids weirds me out a little bit. I just don't understand it. And again, Ollie's only almost gonna be 2, so she's small. Yeah. So maybe it'll change or get tougher as she gets older. But, like, I get it.
Yeah, maybe once we get older, we'll be like, okay, I get it.
We'll come back.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it again.
Once they're like have a boyfriend and girlfriend or whatever.
So if there's any moms with like older kids out there, let me know what that is, because I don't get it. I just don't.
I'm pretty sure there's other parents that have older kids that listen to us. Do you guys ever feel jealous of your kids' girlfriends or boyfriends?
Yeah.
And if so, why?
Yeah. Like, where does that possessiveness come from?
Yeah.
You know?
Let us know in our forum.
Yeah, it's anonymous, so you can say whatever you want.
Yeah. We won't be judging.
Not at all.
We just want to hear your opinion.
But I guess with sex, you know, sometimes pregnancy does come along. And I feel like there's so much about pregnancy that's not talked about that I wish was talked about. Or like, a warning, here's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, for me, it was the whole body change. And the prepartum depression. I knew postpartum was a thing. Postpartum depression was a thing, but not the prepartum depression.
Yeah.
I didn't know it could happen while you're pregnant. So that took me like through a whole loop, because I wasn't expecting it. I didn't know I was going through that until I was diagnosed with it. And then on top of that, dealing with my body changing. Yeah. It was just like so much to deal with. Yeah. And I think that's why I struggled so much, because like I said before, I've always been kind of chubby, and you know, I would try to stay at a certain weight. So, you know, I would try to watch what I would eat, or I would try to, you know, do a little bit more exercise here and there, so I could stay the size that I used to wear. But then, you know, getting pregnant and gaining all this weight and your belly growing and getting all these stretch marks, it was just hard. Yeah. It was so hard because it was something out of your control. Yeah. And being pregnant, you can work out, but like to a certain extent. Yeah. And only
but that also, even if you work out, it doesn't prevent your belly from growing as big as it's gonna grow. No amount of workout will stop your belly from growing, because the baby's gonna keep on growing. So obviously, like, you know, so it's like it is something you have zero control over.
And I think that's what I had a hard time with, because I had no control over my emotions, my mental state of mind, my body image, like, and all the symptoms that I was having. And I think that's what just really took a huge toll on me, because I had no control over anything. And it's hard because people don't tell you these things. Like, they don't prepare you mentally for these things that are about to come. And I think that's why we sort of started this podcast, you know, to talk to people and educate them.
Yeah, and kind of just bring awareness to it, and
like what we went through.
Yeah, because I think a lot of the things that we went through, we were never warned about, or it was never talked about. So then when they started happening to us, we're like, what the heck is this? Or like, why do I feel this way? You know? Yeah, like, I think for me, it was just so hard, because like, I guess they say, oh, you get morning sickness, and I was like, okay, I expect to get sick, but I also didn't I guess I didn't expect how bad it was gonna get. Like, I couldn't even drink water. I could keep nothing down. And then, like, obviously that's involuntary, like, that's just, you get nauseous and you throw up. But then it was also like, on top of that, I had the worry of like, well, I can't even keep my prenatals down. So now it's also the guilt of like, I'm not taking care of myself. But it's like, I'm trying to eat, I'm trying to keep healthy, but my body is literally rejecting everything I put in it. So it's like I wasn't taking my prenatals. I felt exhausted. My body literally hurt from how much I was throwing up. Like my back hurt so bad because I would get to a point where I was literally throwing up nothing. Like I was just there gagging, hunched over the toilet, throwing up nothing. And then it's just like, that sucked, and I felt miserable. Like I was so miserable for my first trimester, even a little bit into my second trimester. I was so miserable. And then it's like, sure, I got warned about the nausea, but I didn't get warned about like how I was gonna feel and like the guilt that comes with feeling like that. You know, so that's so hard. It's like, why don't people talk about that? You know. And then, like, I was talking to my coworker who's pregnant. She was just like, you know, she was asking me, she's like, why, like, did you feel lonely when you were pregnant? She's like, because I don't know, I feel so alone being pregnant. She's like, yeah, I could, like, my husband is super, like, attentive, and he, like, tries to make me feel better. But it is, I don't know, it does, for some reason, being pregnant makes you feel alone. Because it's like you're going mentally through all of these changes, physically through all of these changes. She's like, I'm so self-conscious, like my body's changing. I was like, like I'm still so self-conscious about my body, you know. So it's like, it's like, I don't know, for some reason, even though like it's weird, because like you get so much support from like your, you know, if you're lucky enough, you get so much support from like your spouse, and then you get so much support from your family because they're so happy for you and things like that. But at the same time, it's like it's hard to like explain what's going on in your brain and like what you're feeling, so nobody can make you feel better, you know. So like that's I get the whole like feeling alone in pregnancy. Because it's like, unless you're feeling exactly what I'm feeling, you don't know what I'm going through. And then even talking to other pregnant people or other people who have had kids, it's different, because like even me and you, we didn't experience it in the same level. Like, you know, and we didn't have the same symptoms, and like, you know, as much as we can relate to each other, it was still a very different experience for the both of us, you know. And I think nobody talks to you about that. Nobody tells you that, how like it's hard. And it's like you said before, it's hard to even be able to relate to another pregnant woman when you're going through it, because everyone experiences pregnancy differently. It's not the same for everyone. You know, they might have the same symptoms, or they might have the same cravings or whatever, but it's different. It's always still not different. Exactly the same, even in like, even in your own pregnancies, like even your like Caesar's sister tells me how like her first pregnancy was so different from her second pregnancy. She's like, my first one was basically like a walk in the park. She's like, it was so easy, my birth was so easy. But then with her second, she's like, she's like, I had the worst like morning sickness, like the delivery was really hard. She had to have a C-section for her second. So she's like, even in that, like, so that scares me. I was like, I was pregnant once and I felt that. I don't know how I'm gonna feel the next time, right? You know. And like, even in that, it's like, sure, I experienced pregnancy once, and I know what I experienced, and I guess I could take that into my next pregnancy, but I have no idea how the next pregnancy is gonna be. So it like, might be a completely different thing. So like, I don't, that's even that, like, you can't even, I guess, to a certain extent, relate to yourself, because not even your pregnancies are gonna be the same. You know. So like, I don't know. That's scary. It is scary. And but, you know, talking about all those symptoms, you know, there's so many symptoms that we didn't really know about going into our pregnancy. Like for you, you had said you had excessive saliva. Yes. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't I heard it from you. Yeah. And then for me, I didn't know that
this might be a little TMI, but your nipples change color.
Your what?
Your nipples.
I thought you said knuckles. I was like, that didn't happen to me. Yes. I nipples. Thought, I was like, these are ugly. They are like so ugly. They're so dark. Yes. Yeah, they got really dark and ugly.
Yeah. And that's why, another reason, you know, like, why I was being so self-conscious about my body and unhappy with my body. Mm-hmm. Because my nipples were getting darker. Mm-hmm. My armpits were getting darker.
My coworker told me that too. I don't know if mine did. I know my nipples for sure. I don't know about my armpits.
I noticed my armpits got darker.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I was so self-conscious about it. And then the worst thing is that I was pregnant during summer. So, you know, I would want to wear, you know, like tank tops or like sleeveless. A dress, so I could be fresh. But most of the time I would go out in a t-shirt. Mm-hmm. And if I were to wear a dress, I would put on like a denim jacket or something just to cover my armpits, because I was so self-conscious about them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I guess I'll keep an eye out on that. But I didn't know that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I think the weirdest one that I was just like, what the hell is this? Is the spit. Mm-hmm. Like, I in the beginning, I thought it was because, you know how like when you feel nauseous or you feel like you're gonna throw up, you do get like, does your mouth get watery? Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, I'm constantly throwing up. I'm constantly nauseous. That's probably why. Mm-hmm. But that shit lasted almost my entire pregnancy, where I was, and my brother brings it up all the time because he thought it was the most disgusting thing ever. I used to have to walk around with the water bottle, and sleep with, and the big, like, you know, the smart water ones, like the tall ones. Yeah. I had one of those in my room because that's how bad it would wake me up. I would be asleep. So not even while I'm sleeping was I feeling good, because I would literally have to wake up and spit into a bottle.
Oh my god.
And I didn't know that was a thing until I looked it up. I was just like, excessive spit in pregnancy, and they're like, it's uncommon, but it's a symptom. I'm like, what the fuck?
Dang.
And then that too, like, obviously at work I couldn't just be constantly spitting into a cup, so like I would have to swallow it. And that would gross me out, which would make me feel even more nauseous.
Oh no.
You know, so it was just like this vicious cycle of just like spit and nausea and like having to swallow it, and like it was just the grossest thing. I think that was probably my weirdest symptom.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't expect like my, I guess, is that your pelvis? Like,
yeah,
to hurt so bad when I walked. Did yours hurt? No. For me, every time I stood up, it hurt so bad. It was basically like my vagina area that hurt. Like, it almost felt sore.
Maybe because you would be sitting and then you wouldn't be putting too much pressure when you would stand up.
Maybe. Oh, maybe.
Because I would be on my feet at work all the time.
Yeah, because I sit for work, but any time I would get up, and it started maybe around like 5 or 6 months, when I was 5 or 6 months in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it started pretty early on. So from then on, and it just got worse as she got bigger. But yeah, from about like 5.5 months is where I started to feel like the pain when I would like stand up. I would just, it just felt like sore, like it just hurt to walk. It hurt to like, even if I was sitting in like a weird like position, it would hurt.
Oh no.
So I had that. That's what I guess I didn't know that was a thing either.
Oh dang.
For it to hurt.
For me, what took me by surprise was I got carpal tunnel, and I got it on both hands.
Oh my god.
And then at work we have to wear gloves because we deal with food. And I've always worn the same gloves, and then until I was pregnant, I started developing an allergic reaction to the gloves. And that's something that happens too. Like, whatever, you could, let's say you could enjoy tomatoes, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then while pregnant, you could develop an allergic reaction to it.
Yeah, like, I think my coworker, she started getting, like, eczema on her, like, forehead and on her, I don't know if I think her hand. I don't know, but she started getting, because, she said that she was using the same, like, lotions and stuff, but then at some point, like, she started getting eczema from it. Yeah. So she had to use something that the doctor recommended for her. Yeah. But, like, that's weird. I didn't know, like, your body could just, like, all of a sudden become basically allergic to things you weren't allergic to before. Yeah.
And then the thing that sucks is that they can't give you anything for it because whatever chemicals bad for the baby. But that's what sucked, and I had the worst hands for a good while. They were so itchy, and then they would hurt because I had the carpal tunnel, and then they would go numb, and it was horrible.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and they gave me the bracelets for both hands. So there was a time where I would wear both of them because of how bad the carpal tunnel was.
Oh my god, that's crazy! I didn't know that was a thing. Mm-hmm. Oh my god.
It's not very common, but it happens.
It's a thing. Oh my god. Yeah, like for me, I kind of had the opposite effect with like dairy and stuff because when like prior to being pregnant, I couldn't have any milk because it would go right through me. Yeah. But while I was pregnant, I was like eating cereal and I was eating regular milk because I kind of switched to soy milk. And then like while pregnant, I was totally fine. And I was able to like drink milk and have cereal, and it was like the best thing ever. I'd get up. I think it was like one time it was like maybe like 2 a.m, and I woke up and I got hungry and I had a bowl of cereal and I was just sitting in bed at like 2 a.m. eating a bowl of cereal. I was like, I could have never done this before.
You would have been running to the restroom right after.
I would have been bubbling. But yeah.
So did you have any weird symptoms when you were pregnant?
Besides the spit, my feet grew.
Really,
but back to the. I didn't know that was a freaking thing. My feet grew half a size.
Really?
I used to be a size 6.5 in shoes, and then at first I was like, well, my feet are super swollen. Maybe that's why my shoes are not fitting me. And then you bought me the cute shoes that I literally wore my entire pregnancy, the gray ones. I wore my Lifesaver. I wore those my entire pregnancy. And then after I gave birth, I was just like, maybe because I was still my feet were still kind of swollen for maybe like a month after I gave birth. Yeah. And I tried on my regular shoes and
they weren't fitting.
Nope. Like not with length. So I was just like, well, I'm not swollen anymore. They should fit me. But my toes were like, no. So my feet grew half a size. So now I'm a size 7 in shoes. Dang. I was just like, what the fuck? This is it. Does that happen every pregnancy?
This reminds me of a story that my mom told me. So she was telling me that, before when people get WIC, they would have to go to the office and they teach them these lessons, like, and then she said, oh yeah, I had to do that, but we had to go in person with a big group of people. And then she was saying that there was this tall lady that was giving the lesson, and that she told her that one of the things that happens after you have a baby is your feet grow. So every time you have a kid, your feet grows another inch or whatever. And that she looked down at the lady's feet and she had like the biggest feet ever. And she was asking the lady, well, how many kids did you have?
Why didn't you stop after 2?
No, here's the funny part. She said she only had 2 kids, but she still had really big, long feet.
Oh, no.
She was just cracking up because she just kept wondering, like, well, dang, like, how big were your kids that your feet grew so big?
I'm scared. If my feet grow, at least mine only grew half a size. If my feet grow another half a size, I'm gonna be pissed. Because I'm not getting any taller. So I'm gonna be this short with big ass feet. What the fuck? I'm gonna cry. What?
What size are you now?
A size 7.
You're gonna be a 7.5 for your next one.
I don't want to. No. I'm gonna be so pissed. Oh my god, I'm gonna be so mad if my feet go half a size.
But your poor child.
If my shit grows for the next pregnancy, I'm not having any anymore. 2's fine. 2.
You're gonna
fucking clown feet.
That's what I've been trying to say.
I'm gonna have to start wearing bell-bottom jeans so they don't look that big. Imagine me in leggings or skinny jeans. I'll start wearing bell-bottom jeans. So if anybody sees me in bell-bottom jeans,
her feet grew.
My feet grew too much. Oh no. Oh no. Just a warning, if you don't want your feet to grow, don't get pregnant. I'm sad. Oh my god.
Let us know in the forum or just Instagram us.
Yeah.
Let us know if you have a kid and your feet grew. And let us know.
Because mine luckily only grew half a size.
So yeah, did you have any weird cravings while you were pregnant?
No.
No?
No.
At all?
The only thing I would crave, which I never had, was the like carne molida. I wanted. I know there's a name for it, but it's ground beef, but it's kind of like ceviche, where it's cooked in lemon and like with tomato and onion and cilantro and avocado. And I wanted that my entire pregnancy, but I never had it because I think I wasn't allowed to because it wasn't cooked on the stove.
I thought you did have a little bit.
No, I never had it.
Oh.
And then I don't think I never asked, but I don't think I'm allowed to because even like deli meat, it has to be heated up. Like if I eat it, it has to be hot at the time I'm eating it. So I'm assuming because it's not cooked with, like it's not cooked in heat or anything, it's just cooked in lemon, like with the acid and stuff. I don't think you're allowed to have it while you're pregnant. But that's all I wanted my entire pregnancy. And then In-N-Out was my thing. Oh my god, I still love In-N-Out, but I loved In-N-Out when I was pregnant. Like that's all I wanted was In-N-Out.
For me, it was I don't like fish. I don't eat any seafood. And there was this one time that I was craving ceviche. But I was craving the ceviche that my mother-in-law makes because she adds mango.
Ooh.
It's good, but I would try to avoid the fish part. And that's all I would crave was her ceviche.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Did that make your mom sad?
No.
No?
No, I don't think so. No, because she knows that I'm not a ceviche type of person.
Yeah.
Another thing that I really, really wanted was the Salvadorian tamales. Have you ever had them?
I don't think I have, no.
They're wrapped, what is it?
Are those the ones that are wrapped in the banana leaves?
Yes.
Oh, I don't think I've had them.
No? Well, I've had them because my cousin's mom, she's Salvadorian.
Oh.
So she's made them. And I always asked her, like, when is your mom making these tamales again? And again, I was pregnant during summer, so no way in hell were they gonna make tamales for me.
Yeah.
During the summer. But that's all I wanted was those tamales, the ceviche, and I was obsessed with mango.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't like mango.
You don't?
I'll eat it, but it's not like I crave it.
Mango.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when I was pregnant, that's all I would want to eat. Or I would have like a mangoneada from La Michoacana, or just any type of mango I wanted.
Yeah.
And now, I don't know, I think it's just the texture of it. Like, it feels like little pelitos.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I don't like. But when I was pregnant, it tasted like the most amazing thing ever. And that's all I wanted. And then I gave it a try after having my baby, and I was like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
It was just the pregnancy that made me want mango.
Yeah, I don't think I had like super cravings like that. Yeah. I mean, there was this one night where I really, really wanted cinnamon rolls. Like, really, really bad. I was like, I need cinnamon rolls, or I need a donut. I need something like that. And I think we had gone to Walmart, because Walmart has the cinnamon rolls, and they didn't have them. I was pissed. And then it was honestly already late. Like, it was like, and then Caesar's like, do you want to go to a donut shop? And then there's a Yum Yum, like, literally at the corner, like, right close to where we live. And it says 24 hours.
Yeah, but it's
and
not.
It was like past midnight at this point, because I was like, I really, like, I want. And Caesar was the most amazing person when I was pregnant, and he's like, okay, let's go get you a donut. And they were fucking closed. And he looked somewhere else up because of how late it was, and he found this place that had like for their donuts, they had really good reviews, but it did say that it was like in a sketchy place. And so we went, because it wasn't that far from the house, so we went. But yeah, there was like crackheads and drug addicts outside. So Caesar's like, I'm not taking you out of this car, and I'm not leaving you alone in this car. So I didn't get my donut.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, nothing like weird or anything. My sister told me that when she was pregnant, she used to crave dirt. Dirt. She used to crave dirt.
That's weird.
Yeah. And then I think she said that her baby daddy told her one time, well, just freaking take a little scoop just to get that urge out. And then
she did.
But that she used to crave dirt. And then I don't remember who told me. I feel like maybe my aunt or somebody told me that my mom used to crave, like, you know, the like little jarritos that like the Mexican ones, the ones that are like that orangey red color. Yeah. That she used to crave that, like she would wet it and like get it like as moist as she could. She'd just chew on it.
Dang. Yeah, my mom was like that, clay. But she would crave the smell of a brick.
What? That has to do something with like iron deficiency, I feel like. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Yeah, because I remember this was when I was living in Mexico with my mom. She was pregnant with my brother. My grandparents had across from our house, they had like a little rancho. And I would always play there with the dirt and the water. And they had bricks, and I had gotten the bricks wet. And I don't know why, I smelled it, and then I showed it to my mom. And then she's like, oh my god, this smells so good. And she just started biting on it. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, that has to do with like iron deficiency.
I'm pretty sure.
Like, oh my god. Yeah, we'll see for future pregnancies if we get weird
cravings.
Because yeah, for all nothing weird. Like, I've seen like on TikTok, like people like try the weirdest things because they have weird cravings. And like, I think Caesar's sister told me that she used to crave the Del Taco fries with mayonnaise and their green salsa or something like that. I was like, that sounds so disgusting. But yeah, I didn't have anything weird like that.
And I'm thankful I didn't have anything weird like that, because I've seen people that will crave pickles and like peanut butter with pickles and like some weird mixture of things.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And like, I'm glad I didn't have that.
Yeah, me too. Okay, we're coming to the end of the podcast, and since I don't have an oopsie of the week again, and we talked about pregnancy and sex, we're gonna share some weird facts we found. This one's about pregnancy. It says the longest time on record that someone has been pregnant for is 375 days. Normally, pregnancy lasts around 280 days, so Penny Diana Hunter's baby was nearly 100 days overdue in 1945.
What?
Longer pregnancies are more common than you think. Many women report being pregnant for 10 or 11 months rather than the usual 9. What the heck? That's insane. But 1945 makes sense. Like, I don't think they could have done like C-sections and stuff back then.
What's the word called?
Like induction?
Yes.
Yeah. Imagine being pregnant for over a year. A year's 365 days.
Oh no. I couldn't do that.
Hell no.
No. That's
oh my god.
I got one for sex.
Ooh.
It says it's slow calorie burn. Researchers say a vigorous sex sesh can help you burn up to 5 calories per minute. It's not quite a replacement for a gym membership, but it may be a close second.
Imagine being like, I really need to work out, babe.
Come here.
Come here. Let's work out for 30 minutes. Oh my god. That is the end of the episode.
We hope you guys liked it. Don't forget, keep in touch with us on our Google form, and we'll see you guys next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.